guys, I'm Layla. Today we are in Raid Shadow Legends, and we're going to be reading the lore story for Esme the Dancer. She is the brand new Fragment Fusion champ for Valentine's Day 2025, and she does have a duo. We're going to read that story as well, so make sure you guys stick around for that. I love the look of her. So obviously they went with the whole Hunchback of Notre Dame, because Esmeralda, that's who she is, right? She's Esmeralda. And I really love what they did with her. She is just gorgeous. They made her so very, very pretty. And as usual, I have not read the lore story. I was waiting for you guys. So let's see how she ties in Moto in her lore story. And then, like I said, stay tuned for another video where I'll be reading the lore story for Moto of the Peel, who is Quasimodo. So here we go. This is the lore story for Esmeralda, Esme the Dancer. The Dust Spirals are a Kraken nomad clan who believe that one can learn the future and receive life guidance from patterns in sandstorms. It was Esme who saw, in billowing sands and furious gusts, a great city. At its center was a huge building of white stone dedicated to the worship of Lumea. She felt a deep yearning to travel there, one that haunted her every waking moment, a deepest sleep. Why? She had no idea. Had Esme not been a daughter of the Dust Spiral's chief priestess, she could not have persuaded her clan to leave its ancestral wandering lands. Her mother was moved by her impassioned insistence they go. Surely, she reasoned, if the sand winds had such an impact on her daughter, they should listen. It was rare indeed for such a stark impact to be felt by anyone reading the dust storms. And so, the clan traveled. It was a long and arduous journey. All Esme had to guide them was her drawings of the white stone building. They headed west, where such a construct they knew was not something from the Sar Lakes to the north, or Velazar to the south. It must have been from the continent of Anhalt. After many months, the Dust Spirals came to the city of Lutita in Karak. There, at its center, was a huge building of white stone, its towers reaching hundreds of feet into the sky. The nomads could not believe their eyes. A cathedral, the locals called it, dedicated to the worship of Lumea. The clan hailed Esme as chosen of the Sand Winds for receiving a vision that came to be so literally true. But what were they to do now? There was no sandstorms here to give further guidance. All they could do was wait. They camped outside the city, Esme and others entering each day. So to sustain themselves, they danced, living off the silvers passersby tossed to them. Esme always performed outside the cathedral. She was talented enough to have danced as part of Armand's magnificent performances in the past. Lithe, graceful, beautiful, her movements were enchanting to the point of distraction. Many of the inhabitants came to see her as a foreign-born harlot and heretic, for performing as she did outside a sacred place. She was not afraid, even when the crowd became hostile, for she was a skilled fighter and knew in her heart she had to be there. One day, the crowd's hostility turned to violence. Unbeknownst to her, one member of Esme's audience felt not hatred for her, but affection. The Ogre, Moto of the Peel, the cathedral's bell toller, who was a myth to most of Lutita's people, had watched her each day. Though he had spent much of his life in the bell tower, he rappelled down when the crowd became its most ugly. He barreled his way through the mob, knocking dozens to the ground with his sheer bulk. Chaos ensued. The Ogre's sudden appearance horrified the people, few of whom were sympathetic to his kind. They were enraged, many calling for Moto of the Esme's blood. They had to fight their way free of Lutita. Moto using pure brawn, Esme with light and darting movements to evade punches and kicks as well as precisely land her own. The unlikely pair made for the Dust Spiral encampment. There, Esme thanked Moto profusely. She told him all about her visions that had brought her and her people to this city. She believed that beating him, this being willing to fight to protect a stranger in the face of a crowd's baseless wrath, to give him the opportunity to show the world his kindness and escape his prison, was why she had to come to Lutita. Esme said he would come back to the clan to the Kraken Desert. They could not stay. The mob would pursue them beyond the city walls, but surely would eventually. The Ogre was unwilling, claiming that Lutita was his home, that he was the bell toller. Esme pleaded with him. saying that after everything that had happened, he could not return. He was not the bell toller anymore. Things would never be as they had been before. He was still uncertain. Hours passed. Esme would not leave without him, nor would Moto leave with her, torn between recognizing that Esme was right and his feeling he should remain. It was then that a man rode to the Dust Spiral's camp. It was Valdalk, Moto's guardian at the cathedral. Without dismounting, he declared he was the only reason the people had not already come to the camp, and that Moto was no longer welcome in Lutita. He then turned and left just as quickly. The ogre's decision was made for him, and Esme was delighted. Okay, guys, what do you think about this? So I find it's a fun way that they found how to add the Hunchback of Notre Dame to make Esmeralda the dancer, right, for what she was. And they do definitely add in, you know, some things that we recall from the cartoon if we watch, where they talk about how she was a dancer. I do like how they added in that she danced with Armand the Magnificent, who is also a barbarian in this game as well too, right? He tends to have carnivals and festivals, that she did that. And I also like how they add this in, is that the people of the city start to see her, they call her like a foreign-born harlot and a heretic. This is very, very similar to kind of like what we see in the Hunchback of Notre Dame for how Esme and her people are treated, right? And the end, it looks like Moto gets to stay with her. So I would love to know what you guys think for the lore story for Esmeralda, for Esme the dancer. And what's interesting is, so do we think this Valdalk here is, what was his name? Oh, who was the guy that pretended to be Quasi's father? I can't remember his name. If you guys know, drop a comment down below. Who was in the Hunchback of Notre Dame, right? Frollo, right? Was his name Frollo? I want to say Frollo. So I'm thinking this Valdalk here is supposed to be who Frollo is. This talks about Moto's guardian and told him not to come back and said he wasn't welcome anymore. So then it looks like Moto stays with Esme and her at her traveling group here. But yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop me a comment down below what you think on the lore story for Esme the dancer, and thanks for watching.